Never come back yet. Still on one. We don't need to hear that.
I'm breaking out. I'm breaking
Oh,
in.
of course you do. And we will get back.
I just can't help this state I'm in. I'm on my way, y'all. So put your shades on. This light's so bright, it's blinding. I'm radiating love. I'm radiating love. I'm radiating love.
We're going to do that soon.
Breaking
over the
free.
next few months. At least
I'm
once
breaking
a month,
ground.
We'll
I can't explain this thing I found. The clouds have moved on. I got my groove on. This pep in my steps infectious. I'm radiating love. I'm radiating love. I'm radiating love. I've been stuck in a rut. I've been shit out of luck. I've been wondering what is up with me. And then I realized it's up to me to decide. I can just be radiating love. I'm radiating love. I'm radiating love. I'm radiating love.
Okay, so we don't need to hear it. Okay, so this music is going to be going. Let's all hear. Close our eyes. And we'll take a deep breath together. We're going to find our sacred space right here within us, right at this moment here at the top, the tippy top of our service. Hi, those of you online, you're joining us mid-guided meditation, so welcome. And I'll explain what we're doing. You'll pick it up. We're in our sacred space right now. We're allowing the energies of the sun, of the universe to come down upon us. Here in Los Angeles, we've had a lot of rain, so we're going to allow this energy, this divine energy, to rain down upon us and flow over us from the top of our head, all the way down our bodies. This energy vibrates within us, goes out our fingertips, we share it with the world. And as our feet are on the floor or cross-legged, we allow the love of this planet, power, presence, that is the planet itself, for it too is a living being as we are. We allow this divine energy to rise up from the bottom of our feet. Feel it vibrate as it flows up our legs, shines a little light through our knees, and then connects with that divine cosmos energy in the universe. So now we are grounded, we are centered, We have intentionally attached ourselves to that which never really goes away, and that is that divine love. This morning we're going to use a divine feminine card, the Oracle Guidebook by Megan Watterson. And usually I randomly pick a card in front of you, but this week I picked it beforehand, and it's like the perfect card. The card I picked is Joan of Arc, the warrior of light. Those online, you might not be able to see it, but there's the card. She says, I have a steel-like faith in myself. The angels armor me with conviction. Joan of Arc represents the power that we all possess when we're aligned with our calling. You may not remember, but she was born in 1412. At the age of 13, she had a vision. It changed the course of her life. Dressed in men's armor, she led several campaigns across Europe against the English and became a symbol of hope to all of France. She was captured, but 25 years later, she was declared innocent. In 1920, she was canonized by the Catholic Church by Pope Benedict XV. During Joan of Arc's heresy trial, her interrogators asked her if she was in a state of grace. Was she in her sacred space? And she answered, if I am not, may God put me there, and if I am, may God so keep me. Her unfaltering faith in the truth of her own visions made the impossible possible, as we can do every day, if we so choose. As a teenager, she led an army that changed the course of history for France, and because of the trials, we have sworn testimony detailing the courage of her conviction and her own testimony about her visions of the Archangel Michael, who inspired the course of her actions. Act, and God will act, she said. Act, and God, the universe, the law, will act. The faith she had in her vision allowed her to take on a task that had never been done before, especially by a young woman. Remember, this is the 1400s. Her every action chanted, I am not afraid. I am not afraid. I was born to do this. She is associated with the fleur-de-lis, known as the flower of light. It represents the Trinity as known in the Catholic and Christian faith. Joan, like the Mother Mary, knows she is directly connected to the divine from within her. And of course, like each and every one of us. And she allows that connection to guide her, as we do in this state, and as we do in any state of mind, that we allow the inspiration, the voice, the moment we begin to listen. Joan of Arc's life is a testament to what is possible for us when we believe steadfastly in our own vision. She asks us to move beyond our fear, to act on our truth, and to do this with the confidence of knowing that our every step is flanked by the angels, flanked by the universe, flanked by the power and presence that is within each and every one of us right here, right now. I don't care what happened today. I don't care what happened yesterday. I don't even care what happens tomorrow. The divine is within us right here, right now, ready to turn our new choices, our next choices into form, into this 3D reality we are living in right now. So I'm going to give us all a moment, a minute or so, to contemplate this question. What is the most powerful vision for my life? What is the most powerful vision for my life? What is the most powerful vision for my life? And as we feel the words, hear the words, see the words of this vision, that is, as it is illustrated in front of our inner eye, as we envision it within, let us have this intention, which is Joan of Arc's intention. I have a steel-like faith in myself. The angels, the universe, armor me with conviction. In this conviction, let us take a deep breath together. Fill your lungs with the joy of the universe, the divine love, the divine power and intelligence. Let it out through your mouth. And as we breathe normally, as we wish, as our bodies do, go ahead, wiggle your fingers and toes, move your shoulders, bring yourself back to this room, which is already established as a holy and sacred space. And slowly open your eyes. And welcome back. I want to show you guys here in the room Picture of Joan of Arc. Great, great picture. I love these cards. Yeah. So, here. Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc, ladies and gentlemen. Our statement of principles. So we're talking about vision, and of course, vision leads to mission. And you started all with purpose, and the New Thought Spiritual Center has all three, and these are our statement of principles. They're behind me. You can see the first sign in the center here, or the first one I'm pointing to, is because I guess this could be the first sign, unless you're in Israel, then this would be the first sign. Or you speak, is Arabic from left to right? I'm not sure. Anyway, Arabic is also left to right? Yeah. Anyway, haha. Anyway, the purpose, our purpose statement, and everyone who's here in the room will speak it, and you online can just look at it, or you can speak it at home. Nobody's there to look and go, why are you talking and nobody else is here? The purpose of the New Thought Spiritual Center is to reveal the divinity in you. And all these words that you may not be able to see online are all about divinity in, I don't know how many, 20 different languages, I think. They're all talking about divinity or the divine in you, because there's namaste. And of course, namaste is the divine in me. See the divine in you. And in order to establish this purpose, we have a vision statement. And we talked about vision during the guided meditation. And thank you for joining us right in the top of the broadcast this morning. Our vision statement is right behind me, and that is vibrate at the speed of the divine. So when we're revealing this divine power that is within us, all of a sudden, if you take a moment, you'll start feeling a buzz of energy in your life. Have you ever, what was that? Did you say something, Steve? Oh, that's okay. All right. Thought he was having a quip and we were going to have a laugh. Okay, so we've done this before. If you put your hands together and you rub them, just not even long, not even 20 seconds, and you stop and you start to feel that energy. I'm sure there's some scientific explanation as far as what you're creating, the heat and all the stuff, but feel that energy. That is a vibration. I don't know about you, but a lot of times when I am really in it, when I'm in my sacred space, when I'm in my spiritual practice, it doesn't matter what kind of noise is around me, I start feeling that vibration, and I know that I'm really in touch then. So that's vibrating at the speed of the divine. And even if you don't feel that, runners, athletes talk about being in the flow. And if you do any arts or crafts or writing, you know that there's a moment or many moments, because I know it happens to me. I know it happens to any creative people that I've talked to, because we talk about that. So it probably happens to you in whatever your creative endeavor is, even in no matter what. You get into that flow, and all of a sudden, an hour, 2 hours more have passed. You have no sense of time, because you're not so much that you're focused and nothing else is happening in the world, but you're in the flow of the divine creativity that's in you. And it doesn't have to be an art and a craft to be in that flow, as athletes know. Our mission statement, which is how we make all this happen, is bust through, soar, and zoom. And of course, as you know, bust through, soaring, and zooming doesn't mean getting yourself necessarily out of things that most people would say is negative in your life. Of course, you want to bust through, soar, and zoom through all that. But even when you have good stuff going on in your lives, everything could be better. Just even maybe a teeny bit. And that's okay. And sometimes those, I know in my life, sometimes those are even harder. When things are great, you want them to be greater. Sometimes it's a little more difficult to take that upgrade. I'm not sure why. Maybe because you're just so close to it, versus when something negative is happening in your life, it's just so huge and obvious, and that taking the huge leaps sometimes is a little easier in weird ways than the little leaps. Anyway, that's our statement of principles. And because of that, that brings me to our love offering. Now, most of the time, love offering is after the talk at a spiritual center, or even at most churches. Not so much in the Jewish tradition, because they mostly pay membership fees, so there's no extra money there's no plate that gets passed around. But in other traditions, there's a plate that gets passed around. In spiritual centers, there's usually something like that as well. And that usually happens after whoever is facilitating or leading the thing is done with their big talk for the day. Well, I was thinking about that in the last few days. And I was thinking, you know what? The love offering section of a service or a Sunday celebration of some sort, it's not about tipping the senior minister. It's not about, hey, you got all this inspiring information or education or whatever happens through the main talk of the celebration. It's not payment for that, like you're paying dues to a school. It's about the vision of your community, of the spiritual center. And so we're going to do this now. It reminds me, and I was telling Steve this story earlier. I used to manage catered events. And I remember managing this catered event. It was a sit-down party. It was a New Year's Eve party for a gentleman and his 20 closest friends, or whoever they were, at his house. And this was in Palm Springs, California. So we all drive from LA to Palm Springs, and we unload and we get in his house, and we're setting things up in the kitchen to get ready for his party in a couple hours. And he comes up to me and he hands me $100 bill. And he says, "This is the kind of service I expect from you and your team today." And he gives me the $100. He tipped me before the party. He tipped me not necessarily as a thank you or as in recompense for the work well done, but because this is what he expected from me above and beyond what he was paying the company to produce this dinner for him and his friends. And I thought that was so interesting. And that's why we're doing our love offering right now. So for you online, here's all the information. Let us place our hands on our hearts and together declare our love offering blessing. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless. It is evidence of my conviction that God is the source and substance of my supply. I joyously contribute to the vision of my spiritual center, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. Amen. Hallelujah. Thank you for your blessed love offerings. So we're back, and we've been chatting a little while you found out how to give your love offering, so that our vision statement can continue, because of course it only continues with love offerings, and some of those love offerings aren't financial. We have people who give a love offering by their time and talent, and that gets recognized too. But for all of those of you out there, please enjoy and share our vision by going to Venmo, PayPal, all those other ways to offer your love financially. So let's get into some spiritual mind treatment right now. We're going to do a little prayer. For those who don't understand what that means, is an affirmative prayer. So when we do an affirmative prayer, we're not beseeching, we're not even asking. We're revealing and declaring. So if everyone would close their eyes just for a moment. And what we're going to know here and now, that there is a power and presence in this universe. And you can call it what you want. It doesn't care what you call it. I certainly don't care what you call it. You call it what makes you feel good. But call it. Call it. Know that it is a power within you already, because it's a power that expresses life through each and every one of us in our specific ways. Yeah, we have a lot in common, of course. We're all one, of course. But we express life in so many different ways that may seem similar, but are always unique. And in this uniqueness, we allow ourselves to vibrate with this power and presence in everything we think, feel, and do. Everything we imagine, reveal, and declare. So it is here right now that I, for each and every one of us, declare this power and presence is not only within us and there for us to use intentionally, but that we do so. That we call forth and listen to the angels, to the universe, to the divine intelligence, to all those things, all those names, all those titles. We listen. And as we listen, we are informed. And as we are informed, then we step into the best way to inform. Inform the law of cause and effect, inform that law of attraction, that law of recompensing, to bring forth into our lives that which we have envisioned. What is our vision for the end of this 2021 year and the beginning of the 22nd year of this century? We speak it in our mind right this moment. It could be simple, it could be long, but we speak it right now. This vision is in the works. All the alignment is happening right here and right now. And so, in truth, this vision is informed. This vision is in our lives right now. And as we release this word, release this knowing into the universe that always says yes, we do so in appreciation and gratitude of the power and presence that is not only around us, but is within us. And the law that is saying yes is together we say, and so it is. So I want to read a little poem to everyone. I don't know who wrote this poem. I tried to find out who it was. It's so funny how I find some of these things, but the universe brings me what I need to impart. So here's it go. Here's how it goes. 'Twas the week after Christmas, and all through the house, nothing would fit me, not even a blouse. The cookies I'd nibbled, the eggnog I did taste, all the holiday parties had gone to my waist. When I got on the scales, there aroused such a number. When I walked to the store, less a walk than a lumber. I'd remember the marvelous meals I'd prepared, the gravies and sauces and beef nicely rared, the wine and the rum balls, the bread and the cheese, and the way I'd never said, no, thank you, please. So away with the last of the sour cream dip. Get rid of the fruitcake, every cracker and a dip. Every last bit of food that I like must be banished till all the additional ounces have vanished. I won't have a cookie, not even a lick. I'll want only to chew on a long celery stick. I won't have hot biscuits or cornbread or pie. I'll munch on a carrot and quietly cry. I'm hungry, I'm lonesome, and life is a bore. But isn't that what January is for? Unable to giggle, no longer a riot. Happy New Year to all, and to all, a good diet. So, it's the day after Christmas, and hopefully the family is in food exhaustion somewhere and not bothering you as much, or watching football or something, taking naps, or have finally left for their home. And the chaos of so much merriment that we've had for the last few weeks or the last few days is starting to calm down. You know, I love some Christmas music in my life, but after 3 weeks straight of listening to Christmas music, because if you're out and about at all, you know, in a mall or a store, the grocery store, anywhere, they're always playing Christmas music starting right after, the day after Thanksgiving. And it's exhausting, I think. And I love Christmas music. But by the time we get to Christmas Day, all I want for Christmas is no more Christmas music. Although we did watch White Christmas yesterday. We had that running over and over again. That's such a great. Kwanzaa starts actually today. This is the first day of Kwanzaa. It starts today. And it celebrates the 7 principles of Nguzo Saba. It's an African celebration that began in the 60s or became a thing in the 60s, a holiday that was, you know, this starting this week kind of thing. Anyway, they celebrate these 7 principles, and 3 of them I wanted to remind us of. One is called Umoja, and pardon me if I'm saying that incorrectly, which means unity. And talking about the oneness of the African family in Kwanzaa, but it's the oneness of all of us as a family and community in the world. And we have to always remember, no matter the politics, no matter the vaccination status, no matter even the religious tradition or spiritual tradition that we adhere to, we are all one in the universe. And God does not see your religion. All of that is BS. We are all one in the eyes of the universe. And so I like that idea of Umoja, which means unity. They also have one called Kuji Chagulia, again, pardon me if I'm saying that incorrectly, called self-determination is the translation, defining, naming, creating, and speaking for ourselves. Like the Joan of Arc in the guided meditation was talking about, her faith in herself and her divine purpose that she realized was her life's purpose. She lived it. She lived it with all the gusto and all the fulfillment that her intelligence as a human living a spiritual, or a spiritual being living a human life could muster. And finally, the third one I wanted to bring up of the 7 was Imani, which means faith. And having the faith and the knowing and the allowing and the awakening, that's what we've been talking about all year, is awakening. Awakening just even a teeny bit more to that divine presence that is within us, and using that to bring into our lives, to reveal into our lives. It doesn't have to be bringing a new toy, a new microphone, a new this or that in our lives, but just a peace of mind for a second. 5 minutes more a day to just do that. That's an awakening. And that comes from faith. Faith, not in a religious way, but in a way of knowing that the universe is conspiring for us. And as we take action in mind, body, and spirit, we commune with that power. And that's faith. Faith has nothing to do with the Bible. Faith has nothing to do with Muhammad or Yeshua or any of those people, alive, dead, or made up. It has to do with our connection with the universe, or God, or the divine, or the power and presence, or spirit, or nature, whatever you want to call it. Today is also Boxing Day. Have you heard of Boxing Day? Boxing Day is celebrated in many of the present and former British Commonwealth countries. And it's not about pugilistic endeavors. It's not that kind of boxing. Boxing Day is about expressing your appreciation and thanks to those who have worked for you or are in the service industry or tradespeople that have provided their time and talent to make your life easier. The male person could be somebody you celebrate on Boxing Day. Most offices in the British Commonwealth, or what was the British Commonwealth, are closed, except for, of course, pubs. They pretty much never close. They may not open as early as usual. I think on Sundays they don't open quite as early, but they're open, so there's always able to go to the pub. But Boxing Day is when members of the merchant class, now originally this has changed over the decades and over the centuries, I believe it began a couple of centuries ago, but Boxing Day is when members of the merchant class would take boxes of food and fruit and give them to their servants, or whatever you want to call them, tradespeople, and the less fortunate as well. It's sort of like the people downstairs in Downton Abbey. Those are the people that you're celebrating and helping out on Boxing Day, because they worked on Christmas Day usually to make your Christmas party fun. Tomorrow, on Monday, the 27th, is National Fruitcake Day. Yay! That is the day we throw away that gift that seems more like a curse than an act of love. It's also the day we head back to the mall, because if they didn't start today, they're starting tomorrow, the post-Christmas sales, so we can take all those gift cards that we've received and start spending those babies. And of course, this Friday in the year of 2021, 22, that in between time is, of course, New Year's Eve, right? However, It's also, I don't know who celebrates this, but it's also Make Up Your Mind Day. So all during the year, I don't know about you, but I'm sure I have on a few things here and there, we put on hold many issues and many decisions. Anybody here do that? So now on the 31st, on Friday, it will be time to pay the piper and resolve those issues, at least in your mind. You can take action the next day, but at least in your mind, start resolving those issues and do that before you, well, you want to do that before the evening when you get wasted watching Ryan Seacrest on Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve. So you want to make sure you do that earlier in the day. This week, we will go from cozy fires to fireworks. We'll go from praying to partying. And we'll move from holly berries to January 1st hangovers. And for many, this is a weird, lazy week. And it's a time to blow off steam, to release that energy of analyzing the year that has passed, as people start analyzing the year that has passed during this week, and to start awakening the energy of anticipating the year that we have decided is going to be amassing starting January 1st. You don't have to start at January 1st. You could start January 4th. Don't let that whole January 1st thing push you around. You want to wait to the 4th? Wait to the 4th. But how do we do that? How do we anticipate this amassing of new energy? Ralph Waldo Emerson said, when we have arrived at the question, the answer is very near. Because once we get to the question, there's nothing left but the answer to show up. And of course, the answer is inside you. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't even have to ask anybody, really. You can go to your allies or your therapist or whatever you want to call that, your best friend, your parent, and ask for help, ask for guidance, your minister, whatever. But you don't have to, because all the answers, of course, are inside you. But how do you get to those answers that are inside you? Well, you know that too. You do that with contemplation, you do that with meditation and actuation. You do it with activation, affirmation, calibration, and celebration. You do that with confirmation, declaration, and emancipation. Think about every one of those words. You do that with excitation, expectation, illustration, and incubation. Sometimes these ideas need to be incubated a bit. You do that with inspiration, invocation, and jubilation. And all with the ventilation of the old and the acclamation of the new. Now, here's 5 habits of some great advice I found from a person named Sam Brown, and she is the founder of Smart 20s. It's a website. I'm telling you, I Google things and I look and something attracts my eye and I push on it and I find these crazy blogs. Not crazy in a weird way, but crazy in this wild, fun way. Anyway, she writes a blog for 20-year-olds because I presume she's still that. And this is an article from a couple of years ago, I believe. And so she's the founder of Smart 20s. And there are 5. The first one is create a list of your accomplishments. And what I want to say about that is, we've all had accomplishments all year. Some of them might be very small. You didn't have to cure this or that. You didn't have to get over some big dis-ease in your body to have had an accomplishment. You didn't have to start a new company or a new career or anything like that to have an accomplishment this year. You don't have to think about the big accomplishments. Nothing is too small for this list. I got up every morning. Boom. There's one. Write that first one down. I took my vitamins or my medications or whatever 98% of the time all year. Boom. An accomplishment. Nothing is too small. Number 2, she said, create a list of the biggest lessons you've learned. Now, she talked about, and other people who have had similar lists to this talk about the lessons from our failures. Yeah, I guess when you have a failure, it's a lesson that shows up so that you can step away from that failure. But I don't like to focus on that word. We don't need to call things that didn't quite work out the way we thought or the way we anticipated in our spiritual work. Didn't quite work out because, like I said in my dream talk, if anybody remembers that dream talk, maybe we were standing at the corner, and so the law of cause and effect, the law of attraction, kind of brought us a middling version of that which we had thought we decided to reveal in our lives, and it wasn't quite as pretty or successful as we thought. But that's not a failure. It's just something that didn't work out the way we preferred. And the lesson there, of course, is to make sure that we release more of the doubt that we evidently had that didn't bring what we envisioned or better, of course. Because sometimes that happens. But fine. Okay, fine. It's a drag. Maybe you're a little depressed about it for 45 minutes. Great, have at it. But then remember, like flowers, that is fertilizer for the next step. That is fertilizer for busting through, soaring, and zooming. Maybe not with that idea, but for your next idea. Success is always built on lessons learned, whether that is lessons learned from zero, from not knowing anything about this idea that you have about your life, or from lessons learned from things that have shown up, good, bad, or indifferent. Don't let life's stuff, don't let the pandemic, the Omicron, the news, the divorce you might have gone through, any losses or illnesses that have shown up for you or people close to you get in the way of your accomplishment list or your lessons, any lessons that you can think of learned list. Don't let any of that get in your way from propelling you to think smarter, to act bolder every day, a little bit more every day. And take some time this week for radical forgiveness for yourself especially, and others around you. Or if you're still holding on to some past junk that might show up, I do too now and again. I don't always know it by name, but when I stop and think about, wow, why did I snap at that person? Or why am I so grumpy about something? It shows up. The memory shows up. It may not be, who wants to relive those memories, especially the negative ones? Well, yeah. Who wants to relive those negative memories? But the idea, the feeling, the emotion, not so much feeling, but the emotion kind of creeps up. There's a lesson learned right there. Now, allow that to be forgiven. Allow yourself to be forgiven for bringing it up somehow, to still being triggered by it. Let's end this year not as victims, but as victors. And then have a toast to ourselves in any way you want to have a toast. It doesn't have to be alcohol. Number 3 was book outstanding appointments. I like this one. You can start your new year by finishing up the old one. Servicing your car, that dentist appointment, et cetera, et cetera. These are not appointments that have to be completed before Friday. They're appointments to be made before Friday. To get that off your list. It could be, especially if it's a medical thing, you may not see them for 2 months, depending on how they do their appointments. But it adds to your accomplishment list. Right there are little things. Number 4, clean out your wardrobe. I did a whole talk about this. If you haven't seen the show, you've heard of the show about the idea that is a Japanese a system of, if it doesn't bring you joy, get rid of it. So declutter your life, whether it's clothes or anything else. It doesn't have to be about clothes. Find the joys in your life and keep them, and the rest, get them ready for donation, get them ready for selling, get them ready to be removed from your life and gifted in one way or another, whether it's by receiving money for it or just giving it away or recycling it somehow. Share that joy that you used to have with that piece of clothing or whatever. Number 5 is upgrade your surroundings. Now, I know most people have probably spent buku bucks over Christmas in one way or another. Everybody has their own definition of what buku bucks is. Some of it is, some people it's $100. Some people it's $100,000. Whatever. Those are just numbers. However, upgrade your surroundings. Doesn't have to be a lot of money. It can be little things. Buy a new pillow. Not Mr. Pillow. Buy a new pillow. Buy a desk plant. Buy a new comfortable desk chair, which don't have to be expensive. I know desk chairs can get very pricey. You don't have to buy those fancy video chairs that the chubby guy in the basement is playing his video games with. Those are very high priced chairs. But just buy a little new chair, maybe a new hair dryer. Maybe you've denied yourself the new hair dryer. You can feel it starting to. I don't have that problem anymore, but it's starting to. I don't think they even used hair dryers as much back then. When I used a hair dryer or would have, whatever. Just a little thing that enhances. Paint a wall. What's painting a wall cost? You can get a quart of paint for $5, $10. Then all it takes is the half hour of your time. Paint one wall a certain color. Boom, you've upgraded your surroundings. Also, now we're getting into some of my lists. That was her list. And other blogs that I looked at had similar things to that. But also, this is something I want to bring out. Don't make resolutions. Don't make resolutions. Make declarations. Resolutions get lost. Allow the revelations especially that you're having this week as you go through your accomplishment list and your lessons learned list, let those revelations inspire the declarations that you're going to have for 2022. Not necessarily January 1st, 2022. Again, it doesn't have to be January 1st that all this starts. It could be February 1st. It could be March 1st. Who cares? Just 2022. It's a great time this week to update, create, or add to your vision board as well. Even if your vision board isn't on a, piece of poster board, some people just keep a vision board in their head. That's fine. It's really actually kind of cool and I think very advantageous to take the time, whether it's an hour. We did a couple of 2-3 years ago, we did a vision board workshop here, and it was a 3 hour. We did a 3-hour workshop, and some of it was going through the whole explanation of what a vision board is and doing some spiritual stuff around it and some prayer and some meditation. But then we got to the really fun part, and that is taking the magazines and cutting pictures and words out. That act of physically doing things. Don't do this you can do it on your computer if you're pulling pictures and kind of creating something, because then there's movement. You're not just doing this with words, but you're moving things. You're looking for things. You're Googling images and going, yeah, this is this year. things out, make the physical board. There's a magic to doing it physically that goes above and beyond doing it intellectually or even in your imagination. And you know how much I talk about imagination and feeling equaling belief and manifesting. Now that brings me to not only not make resolutions, but instead of resolutions, let's make recognitions. And one of the recognitions we want to continue to make and continue to remind ourselves is who and what we are grateful for. The attitude of gratitude, as they say. The energy of gratitude is an energy of havingness. When we do our spiritual mind treatment, when we do our affirmative prayers, there's always in the 5-step science of mind version of affirmative prayer, especially, there's always a gratitude section, or more and more as you're watching us, there's an appreciation section. Because we appreciate what we already have. That's what all that's about. So let us know we are grateful for our successes in 2022. We are grateful for the lessons learned in 2022. Not just grateful for the successes in 2021 and the lessons learned in 2021, but those for 2022. In advance, let us be grateful. In advance, let us be grateful for that which we will think, feel, and act on as far as our prosperity in the new year. We want to continue to, and this is continuous, this never ends. There's no ending to this. And I don't say that in a negative way or in a way to scare you, but there is no end to ending the caloric intake of negative snacks. We snack on the negative. I do. Don't think you're the only one that snacks on negative stuff in your life. The news gets very loud, and we have to take intentional and specific action to let that, if it goes into our ears, to let it go out the other ear. as probably your mother said you were doing every time she asked you to do something. There's one in one ear, not the other. Or your teacher in elementary school especially. Recognize that you are the God in your life. That might be a little controversial to some people. Not the people in this room, they've heard this many times, but especially new people. The God that you are in your life. Because the God of your life is you. Yes, there is this divine presence that's all around that created the universe, the Big Bang, et cetera, whatever you want to call that. But it is expressing itself through each and every one of us individually and personally. And when we recognize that, when we embody that idea, wow, are we empowered? That's what Joan of Arc was all about. I want to read you my article this week for those who don't get our articles. And if you'd like to get our articles, they come out about every Thursday or Friday. I have an e-blast, tells you what's going on Sunday, who's our guests are, has the affirmations in it, affirmative incantations, and I write a little article or I put a little poem or something in there. And the article, anyway, so if you are interested in doing that, I'll put this in the talk here. You can write to us at ntsc@newthoughtsc.org. You'll see that in later on in our credits and stuff. Anyway, this is what I wrote in the article this week, and I wanted to repeat this verbally. I wrote, the Christ consciousness that is celebrated on Christmas is waiting inside you, ready to illuminate the authentic you, the divine you, in all your glory. For each and every one of us is a gloried expression of the one, brought to earth at this time and in this form to be living, all-encompassing presence of the universal truth in body, mind, and spirit. You do not have to be of a virgin birth to be anointed. You are not limited in how much spiritual food you can fill yourself with at the inn of your mind. And you are completely and naturally capable of being open and receptive to the gifts of wisdom from the source of light, east, west, north, south, ancient and modern. The star at the top of that Christmas tree in your house or in the mall is a symbol of guidance, a symbol of inspiration, and the infinite potential of dreams and manifesting in your life. With faith, we can accomplish everything we believe in and attempt. As Shakespeare wrote in Measure for Measure in the first act's fourth scene, our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt. I don't use attempt as a get out of jail free card. I don't use the word attempt like resolution that you know within a week or so that's going to be history already. Attempt is the beginning of doing. And the last paragraph of my article was the gifts that were given as described in the story of the Magi remind us of our powers of healing, which is what the frankincense symbolized, forgiving and moving forward, which is what myrrh symbolized. Myrrh at that time was what they used to help embalm people, because at that time, especially Egyptians, they embalmed people, you know, in the pyramids. Myrrh was part of the process. And part of the process, especially for the Egyptians, which was where some of these early traditions came from, because that's what was going on at that time. It was kind of their version of the pagan rituals that a lot of Christmas traditions come from. Was about forgiveness. When you died in the Egyptian tradition, it was about forgiveness and moving forward into what they would call, what their version of heaven would be, like most in the Judeo-Christian, well, mostly Christian traditions think of as heaven. And the richness of the divine within, which is gold. That's gold. You may even say that's platinum. Some people believe platinum is worth more than gold. But back then, gold was the highest amount, the highest representation of the most worth that humans could hold on to. So those three gifts from the Magi, we can deal with today. The frankincense is the powers of healing, not just your body, but your mind, your life. Forgiving and moving forward through the myrrh and the richness of the divine within gold. Let us practice faith in all our endeavors, faith in these natural powers we possess. You are the light of the world. Shine it brightly, gift it nightly, and live it sprightly. As we end the 21st year of the 21st century, I want to know for each and every one of you peace, health, happiness, and joy. Not only this week of contemplation, this week of rest, relaxation, restoration, rebooting, but next week, when you go back to work or school, and every week afterwards. Bless you all, and have a happy and graceful and prosperous new year. Thank you so much. Namaste. Thank Thank you. So craziness, we're doing this out of order. We have an affirmative incantation this week. And Steve's going to bring up the affirmative incantation for everybody that is online. So you'll be able to read that. Now, when we're in person, most of the weeks, because I forgot some of the weeks, I print up these little cards. I didn't do this week, but I wrote it so I didn't need to have cards. Now, for those of you in person, you can go to Facebook. It'll be on either on my page or the New Thought Spiritual Center page, and it'll be on the notes, the description notes for this service. So you can go and find it there. What we're going to do is we're going to go line by line. They're short enough that I can speak them and you can speak them after me, okay? And then as you work on it all during the week, you'll do it in your own time, in your own rhythm. Okay, so here we go. It's going to pop up for you, for those of you at home. And here we go. You ready? I count my blessings today. Here we go. I count my blessings today. I breathe the divine love. I breathe the divine love. I think with divine intelligence. I think with divine intelligence. I choose joy in my life. I choose joy in my life. And I set myself on thrive. I set myself on thrive. My blood flows with the radiance of source. With the radiance of source. I focus on appreciation.
I focus on appreciation.
This is a week
This is a week
of continued blessings
of continued blessings
that shine brightly.
that shine brightly.
So now I'll repeat it and you don't have to follow along afterwards. I count my blessings today. I breathe the divine love. I think with divine intelligence. I choose joy in my life. I set myself on thrive. My blood flows with the radiance of source, and I focus on appreciation. This is a week of continued blessings that shine brightly. Every day, every morning when you first wake up, get this idea into your head. And every morning, have this idea in your head as your mind and body is restoring itself for the next day. Have this be the last thing you think about. Have this be the last words that you say and that are rolling in your mind, not the latest episode of Dexter. Not even that great novel you're reading now. Don't let that be the last thing you think of. Let something like this, or a version of this, like I've said before, if you don't like one of the words I use, and you have a word that you like better that says the same thing, use that, rewrite it. This is your starting point. This is not to do anything except give you an aha moment. It may not be day 1, it may be day 7. It may be an aha moment that's a teeny bit that you can write on your list a year from now, or maybe something huge. Depends on what's going on in your life. And that's okay. So now we're gonna, for those online, you're gonna see thanks and things rolling on the bottom. Steve will bring that up because I like to acknowledge the people that helped me make the videos. I made the videos, but I had to pull from different sources to create those videos and the music, et cetera, et cetera. And I, of course, want to thank Steve Apperson, who you'll see in a moment, who directs and moves our broadcast forward. And I want to thank, of course, everyone here for coming. For those here, they know it, but we're going to stop our in-person. For those who might consider coming next week, don't come in person next week if you live in the Los Angeles area, especially in the San Fernando Valley. We're in the Burbank area, because we have decided, the board and I, to suspend the in-person because of what is going on around Los Angeles, not so much physically, but mentally. I don't want people to feel forced or feel bad because they can't get to in person, because there's things going around LA with the Omicron and all this kind of stuff that makes people concerned about going out and about. Okay, you're allowed to be concerned, and you're allowed to bust through and soar and zoom through that concern. But we're going to hold off to about spring, maybe summer, and then we're going to come back for in person, because things are going to change. They're going to change. They're going to get better. They're going to get fabulous again, and people are going to feel more comfortable being out and about and gathering. We have a few people here, but for this room, to fill this room, which is about 30 people, and then go beyond, we want people to feel super comfortable. So that's what we're going to do if you feel inclined to join us next week. But we'll be back online, and I just wanted to inform you of that. The next thing I want to inform you of, and I'm going to thank them in advance, is next week, PJ and I are going on holiday. In fact, we're leaving Tuesday. So if you know where we live, that's when you can come pick up the television. But watch out for the dog. We're leaving Tuesday on a holiday, and so I will not be available on the following Sunday, the first Sunday of the year. So Reverends Gary and Barbara, with the assistance, of course, of the great Steve Apperson, will be running the entire Sunday celebration. They have full reign on how they're going to do it, what they're going to do, what they're going to say. I do have a talk title, which I don't remember offhand, that I gave them, but they can do whatever they want with it. So fun for you guys. So join us next Sunday at the same time here on my page on Facebook, or the New Thought Spiritual Center page on Facebook, or the New Thought Center Spiritual Center channel on YouTube, wherever you're watching us, either live or later on in the day or the week. Okay, so we'll probably be able to watch, but I didn't want to, since I'm out of the country, even though there's internet, I just didn't want to have things be wacky and to actually take a full holiday. Because most of the times when we've gone on little short holidays in the last year since we've gone out and about, I will do it from wherever we are. But this time, we won't be available. So it's going to be great. You all love Gary and Barbara. Barbara will sing probably as well as speak, and Gary will probably do the talk. I don't know. I don't care. They'll do what they want, and it'll be a fabulous, inspiring Sunday. And that is all the announcements. Again, I am working on, I'm going to get this done now because I'm going to speak it out. We're going to be doing a prosperity workshop. It's not something we're going to do in person. It's going to be a series of live Zoom kind of things. I haven't figured that out yet. But a combination of video and in person on a Zoom kind of prosperity workshop. It's going to last 40 days, 45 days in a row. Okay, we're not meeting every day in a row. We're going to meet not maybe once a week. We'll meet live at least 3 or 4 times during those whatever that is, 5 weeks live. So there's a check-in. but there's all going to be all kinds of things for you to do. There's activities. It's not going to be a big, long video that you watch every day for 40 days. It'll be about 10, 15 minutes at tops. So that is being developed. I've developed a lot of it already. I just need to sit my butt down and make those videos for you, and then arrange for the live things that we'll do together. I'm actually very excited about this. I have taken the time to take all these different prosperity ideas and tools and bring them all together into one thing, sort of how the Science of Mind book was written, for those who are Science of Mind book folk, the Ernest Holmes book. Okay, so that's all the announcements. There you go. And we'll be back next year with a brand new theme that Reverend Gary and Barbara will begin for you. I don't want to ruin the surprise. And we got all new themes for every month as well. So join us then. And that is the thanks. And before we go, I want to introduce to you our in-person, in-house songwriter who is bringing back a song, and that he's adjusting the camera, and I will move over because I'm going to. Okay, my stool, this stool? Oh, my. Oh, I see. So I'm going to move around. This is in the way? Because this is for me later. I will move this forward so he has a little more room because he's got a guitar. And I'll adjust this a little bit. Don't need my glasses. You still there? Okay. Here we go. This is you introduced yourself.
Once upon a long ago, one of the greatest things.
Once upon
a long ago, I had the experience of my son Jonathan and I embarked on life on our own, and so I wrote this. Kind of started out with him. Two. Wake up, peoples, get out of bed, hey, rise up and face the brand new day. Shut up the news, don't be confused, just don't leave that time. Smile your breath on the new day, son, and understand the reasons why. Just let your eyes feel the wisdom, remember to run. Yeah, you gotta understand the freedom of giving in yourself each given day, and observe the task, firmly grasp the will of your intention. Oh, what may seem so ridiculous may be a signal to accepting fear. You just may appear to need your attention. You better take it, take off and run. Yeah, you gotta rush on past the water, down beneath the stone, against the current of resistance, can't stop acting like unknown. You gotta push on past tomorrow, feel your soul with pride. Sign or regret, take a deep breath and run. Once I thought I had all the answers, I lacked a little too much faith, seemingly breathing myself into confusion. Oh, I took exception to hold you back, and I abandoned every foolish plan. All I wanted was a response and a clear path to run. follow the dryness that you taste. It's taking, taking ground. Yeah, you gotta rush up past the water. You get down beneath the storm. Against the current of resistance. Gets up active like you know. Gotta shove on past tomorrow. Feel your soul with pride. And when all is said and done, remember to run.
Yeah. Great song, huh? Thank you all for joining us this week online, and of course, all of our beloveds here. We wish you all, of course, a merry, merry, happy New Year's. Be safe. We love you, our beloveds. We'll see you next week. Namaste.